I met yesterday a person just down the road from where I'm staying, and I assumed he was a guy from Hanoi, but he told me he's from the Ukraine. Now, I would have never guessed this, but of course there is a Vietnamese diaspora, so to say, especially with the Ukraine being formerly part of USSR or Soviet territory, and then having that communist connection, it clicked and it made sense. But the reason I mention it is a year ago he moved to Hanoi, Vietnam, which is where his heritage is from. He came with his parents, moved out here for reasons of, for obvious reasons, the conflicts going on, and got me thinking about flipping heck, everyone's turning up now. Yeah, it got me thinking about beautiful struggles. How he was telling me how the resilience that they showed as people, and just the hospitality that he showed just in this place. You know, he came down and sat with me. He was like, I'll tell you some stories. And you're saying how at the start of the conflict it brought everyone together. People were, neighbour would rock up at the door, you want to use my car, use my car. And this was throughout the borders. You need a spare room? Yeah, I've got a spare room. Come stay in this room. And it got me thinking that actually there is something beautiful, not beautiful, but something that brings people together in times of trouble. I was watching a video recently, and it was about transcendence and how we go beyond our physical self, our ego, how we see ourselves as interconnected with everything that is. And he was saying there's numerous times where we achieve this state of transcendence, one of which was in a war zone. So you realise the camaraderie and that you are a part of a greater whole when you're on the battlefront. And you realise your brothers in arms, and that transcends the ego. So they say, I don't agree with war in any way, shape or form. I believe it's always matters to be resolved through communication, but I just found it interesting, and it got me thinking that actually a lot of people say, if there's God, why does pain exist? Why does suffering exist? It teaches us things about ourselves. I hope you can hear me, by the way. I thought it was a nice backdrop, but the volume's picked up a little. I'm going to relocate. It teaches us that it teaches us strength, and through strength we find love. Shout out Alexis Jordan, happiness. Yeah, through strength we find love, and what I mean by that is if there's no pain, there's no lesson. And if there's no oh, have I not paid? Shit, I might not. I don't remember. yeah, it teaches us anti-fragility, which is, you could call it resilience. Let me pause this while I in fact, yeah, let me pause this while I pay. Thank you, see you later. For fuck's sake. Art helping black stereotype there. I'm not used to paying after something that seems 95% of places do. But when you're busy and you've been there a while, or I'm doing something that occupies my mind, I completely didn't even cross my mind. Where was I? Where was I now? Fuck's sake. Ah, yeah. Anti-fragility. Every time you go through something that puts you against, pits you against, what's that saying? Pits you against your wits, or puts you against your wits. Anything that tests you, anything that challenges you, you come through the other side stronger. And that can be anything, even just inhibitions, not caring what someone else thinks, tearing muscles, your physical muscles. Look at these llamas. Your physical muscles are a great example of this. Is you just do a leap. Look at these guys. Can I zoom in, man? I can't zoom in this mode. What mode am I in? Look at these guys, bro. Beautiful spot for a wedding, by the way. But yeah, your physical muscles are an embodiment of the metaphysical concept of pain and tear, tension, stress, regrowth into something stronger and bigger. And that's why it applies mentally as well. You come through the other side stronger. And every time, there's not really much of a path here. Not really. Maybe I'll go other way. Yeah, let's go other way. And if there was no pain, there's no purpose. If you lived in a utopia, how is it a utopia if you have no reference point? If you've got no comparative point of reference, then oh, this llama's got the zoomies. If there's no comparative point of reference, then there's no contrast. And evolution means there has to have been a starting point. You know, when you were younger and your mum would be like, take your coat off indoors, you won't feel the benefit. We'd all be like, what the fuck does this even mean? It's cryptic bullshit that they all copy off each other at the flipping afternoon lunch meetups or whatever. But now I get it. If you don't go through adversity, even if it's 1% adversity of being slightly chillier than you'd like to be in the moment, by enduring, that's how you feel the benefit, as our mothers so rightly said. Now, I believe people talk about discipline and motivation, and everyone cracked on that discipline is better than motivation because it's sustained. Motivation is just the intensity and a short burst. But the thing you're trying to do is fight that resistance to doing whatever it is you don't want to do. There's a gap between stimulus and response, and that's where freedom lies. And it's a conscious gap. What that means, we have the ability to make a choice, but the choice comes from a higher place. It comes more from our deeper values, our soul, our life goals, our ambitions, our vision, rather than our comfort, our survival, our pride. And that's why when I say with beautiful struggles, no matter what it may be, whether it's people banding together in a war in Ukraine, giving people the cars, giving people a room, even natural disasters, it's great seeing other countries give aid. And it tightens relationships between these countries. But something such as a natural disaster, it teaches the law of impermanence, and that, you know, we are, as people, the most important thing, the only thing which has conscious creative choice, the only thing with which my English, man. The only thing with all this crazy stuff where everyone's, not everyone, but a lot of, as humans, for however long, people have realized that there's more to us than just the physical form that we all grow up thinking we are. You know, we go into high school and you see hierarchies forming, and you see, I don't know, the cool kids, the weirdos. You see in group and out group. You see the people who are mates with the kid who's 3 years above, the kid who's got a few mates from the school that's in the next suburb. You know, this stuff, there's trends happening. You're rolling your sleeves up on your school shirt, your tie's short and chunky, like all this stuff it's evolutionary, but it's herd behavior. It's how we evolve socially in groups. But as I say, look at all our civilizations for however long, they've all realized there's something higher, there's something beyond the self. That transcendence that I believe I mentioned in this video is what allows us to revere our ancestors, to collect together around a fire pit, to have religions, to feel spiritual essence, to have mystic traditions, to create different sects of religions, to collaborate, to trust one another. All these things come from a higher place. And that's why every struggle is love, is a lesson, is growth, which is fundamental to the nature of this reality. Everything grows, everything vibrates, everything is either directly, everything's connected. Even the thing that you see as a tangible, physical, inanimate object is vibrating. And also it is, you know, like the double split experiment where the particle collapses into a wave. That shows it's directly a part of us. It's our brain interpreting information. Everything has value, whether that's fear, whether that's pain, whether that's grief, whether that's war, whether that's conflict. Now, the thing is, you don't drown out these signals. You don't block these signals. You don't bury things under the carpet, because all that ever does is delay and compound power, which can be detrimental. These things teach us to grow, but you grow consciously. You grow from lessons and passing on knowledge to other tribes, let's say, back in the day. And now you may say to other generations, which is critical when everything's accelerating. Our environment is accelerating. What am I stumbling across here? It's beautiful, this eco park. Vietnam is unbelievable. You saw where I was sat just recently. I have no idea where I'm going here. I don't know what this is. Is it just a toll booth? Is that it? I'm gonna get a grab shortly, but I just wanted to go on a little walk. Very few pavements. Sometimes I'm like, you know, I need to keep talking, but appreciate a bit of peace, a bit of stillness. Wow, oh my gosh. I feel like I'm in Malibu or some shit. You know, they say America is the land of the free. It's Vietnam, mate. Vietnam is unbelievable. Stunning. I've been to Australia a couple of times. I definitely see the influence from Asia that's in Australia, being part of the Ocean Pacific region. This is beautiful. I could live in one of these. Why is the quality so shite? I wonder how much these go for. It's also a very healthy lifestyle they have out here, which I'm quite appreciative of. Something as I've gotten older, you know, they say when you're younger, you care about aesthetics so much more. Like every lad gets into the gym and wants to build a big physique, muscular physique, whatever. And then they say as you approach your 30s, you care more about just your general health and well-being, mentally and spiritually. And that's very true. Obviously, it doesn't apply for everyone. You still got some 45-year-old Ukrainian meathead in some bodyworks bodybuilding gym. But obviously, like, I'm not. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But I'm saying, rule of thumb, appreciate how I feel when I eat healthy, which ties into beautiful struggles, because it's through your diet. You know, they say you are what you eat. Well, in that, what you eat affects your choices, it affects your perception. Oh my gosh, this place. What I don't understand, I come to a place like this and it is stunning. But everyone gathers in the same area, everyone goes to Old Quarter. I could not live there in Old Quarter. It's so crowded. Oh, hello. Look at this guy. Oh. Oh, he's cute. So, yeah, them places are not for me. That's why I don't understand trends and shit like that. I feel like one under-talked about aspect of social media is how it influences tourism. Obviously, I'm still receptive to it. You know, I've come Thailand, I've come Vietnam. I've not gone to flipping East Timor and flipping, I don't know, Jakarta or something. Actually, that's probably the place here, but you know, you get what I'm getting at. Papua New Guinea, let's say. You know, I'm still gone to these places, and generally people are right. Generally, these places catch on for a reason, but never underestimate the other areas outside the main tourist districts. Sorry, mate. Architecture's lovely. It's giving more American influence rather than French or Chinese. This place, I know it's a little bit dark and you probably can't see my mulatto skin, but it's a stunning place. Doing a few street lights. What else would I want to reference in relation to beautiful struggles? I guess people say often everything happens for a reason. Now, people think they either have a binary answer to that they either agree with it or disagree with it. But you're thinking too logical. See, perspective is everything. Hence the reason I'm making this channel. I feel like I've got quite a mature perspective on a large range of things. But how you interpret everything in your life and how you are able to adapt and apply those lessons, and you see it as a lesson because of that perception rather than a knock to your spirit. How you apply that in your life makes everything happen for a reason, so to say, because nothing is invaluable. As I was saying earlier on in this video, everything is connected, and so there's value in everything, including the struggles. Take Hanoi as an example. Oh, yeah. You know what, the animals seem more animated here, I swear. They're more conscious. This is healthy lifestyle. The animals are, they are lively. They've got energy. I feel like the ones in the UK are just docile. There's something in the water here. Maybe it's just the air quality is better. I don't know. Saying that, it wasn't over Teo, but this area, it's just look at this guy. Look at his energy. Hello. Do you not see more awake, more aware than British dogs? No. Seems it to me. Anyway, we'll flipping heck. Look, even come across a. You see that? A court where they're playing. What they're playing? A bit of volleyball. This is one of the safest places. I sound like a travel vlogger. I didn't intend to be a travel vlogger, but I like the idea of having different environments as a backdrop and as an inspiration for the things that I say. Hi. Je ne sais pas. Let me know in the comments what hooks you'd like me to branch out from. The developments here are crazy. Obviously I worked in construction for a year, home building. Never really did commercial or apartments. Look at these developments. The nearest place that I can envision that's similar, somewhere that I've lived, is East Village in Stratford. That's the most similar vibe I'm getting to this place. But generally, this is it's just so clean, modern, quite surreal to be fair. And apparently this Vin guy is a bit like that. What's that one in Dubai? An Emir or something. Emir. Apparently he's this guy, and he just, I think I may have said in a previous video, just owns all this infrastructure, all the developments, all the tech, all the products. Got a bit of a monopoly on it all. Quite a few Westerners here, to be fair. I did think about staying here for a little bit, but it feels a little tiny bit sterile. So I'm glad I went to Tejo, which I feel is a nice balance between the overly commercial and bustling old quarter, which some people love. Maybe 7 years ago I may have loved it, but my nature, my character is a bit more, I prefer somewhere that feels a bit more peaceful, it's a bit more tranquil. But here feels a little empty, I'm not gonna lie. It's probably what MK Dons was like in in the first week or so. say, I don't understand how some parts of the world are so overcrowded and yet not really healthy environments. You got somewhere like this, seems ridiculously underpopulated. I don't know if it comes down to you know how an airplane will set off flights with X amount of seats empty because they give them away for, obviously they may reduce the prices, but they give them away for free, for example. It completely messes up the economics and the incentive of even paying full price, because it devalues the market, it devalues the value of those who paid. I don't know if it's that similar principle, or I don't know if it's just because it's so modern, but the industrious nature of the Vietnamese goes to show. Right, I'm gonna end this now because I need to get some food and kind of need a piss. So I'll see you tomorrow.